Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Oklahoma City Planning Commission for Thursday, May the 12th. Happy to see everybody here. Just a couple announcements before we get started. If you could, please turn your cell phones to silent so we can keep the meeting moving. If you'd like to be heard on an item today, there's some little slips of paper out on the front. I don't even have one yet, so nobody's signed up, best I know. You can fill one out, hand it to staff, and they will give that to me, and at the appropriate time, I'll make sure that I call on you if there's an item you want to be heard on today. When you come to the microphone, if you would, start by giving us your name and address for the record, and then we'll give you 5 minutes to tell us anything we need to know. We do reserve the right to limit comments if they're redundant or not applicable to the issue before us or something of that nature. But at any rate, first order of business today, before I call the meeting to order, I want to welcome our newest member to the Oklahoma City Planning Commission, Ward 3 Commissioner Constance Fraley, who joins us. So we're happy to have you here. Glad to see somebody in the seat. And in advance, this is to ensure quorum, so we're especially happy to have you there. So anyway, welcome to Oklahoma City Planning Commission. Thanks for your service. With that, we'll call the meeting to order, and our first order of business is to receive the minutes of the April 28th, 2022 meeting. If there's no discussion from planning commissioners, I'll take a motion on those minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve of the minutes from the previous meeting, or receive the minutes, rather.
Okay, I have a motion to receive the minutes. I'll take the second on PrimeGov. Been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. I'm not going to count at Commissioner Fraley just yet. All votes should be cast. And that item is received. Minutes are received. Next item on the agenda is continuance requests. We have 3 of those on the originally published agenda. You want to read those for us, Mr. Butler?
Yes, item 19 is CPA 22-2, defer to May 26. Item 20 is case PC 10813, defer to May 26 as well. And item 21, case PC 10781, defer to July 28th.
Is there anybody who wanted to be heard on any of those items today? Okay. If there's no discussion from commissioners, I'll take a motion on those continuances as read.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the continuances as read.
Okay. I have a motion to approve those continuances. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. All votes should be cast. Okay. And those continuances are approved. We have some new requests from what I understand. You want to read those, Mr. Butler?
Yes, item 11, case PC 10815 has been withdrawn. Item 12, case SP 557, defer to June 9th. Item 15, PUD 1891, defer to May 26th. And item 18, case PC 10806, defer to May 26th.
Okay. Is there anybody who wanted to be heard on any of those items today?
Tell me again what they are.
It's item 11, 12, 15, and 18. Seeing nobody, if there's no discussion from commissioners, I'll take a motion on those continuances and withdrawals as read.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we grant the continuances and withdrawals as read. That was a hard word to say.
Apparently. It's been seconded by Commissioner Hinkle. Please cast your votes. All votes should be cast. And those continuances are approved. Next item on the agenda are consent docket items. We have 3 items on our consent docket today. Mr. Butler, you want to read those?
Yes, item 1 is case PC 10814, application to rezone 300 Northeast 70th Street from R1 to I1. Item 2 is case 7433, final plat of One Tree Park, Section 1, located south of Southwest 15th Street and west of South County Line Road. And item 3, case C7437, final plat of Mercy Center Addition, and this is located north of West Memorial Road and east of North MacArthur Boulevard.
Is there anybody who wanted to be heard on one of those items today? All right. Seeing nobody, if there's no discussion from commissioners, I'll take a motion on the consent docket as read.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent docket as read.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the items on today's consent docket. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes when available. All votes should be cast. And those items are approved. Next item on our agenda begins items under separate consideration. We'll start with item number 4, Mr. Butler.
This is case 7436, preliminary plat of South Portland Commercial Park, Phase 2, And this is located north of Southwest 104th Street and east of Interstate 44.
Applicant present? Okay.
David Jones with the Orion Group. This is a basically a reapplication. This was preliminary platted several years back, and at this point in time, we are making some slight modifications with some known prospective tenants that will be utilizing lots 2 and lots 3 at this location. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to address.
Mr. Jones, what's your address, sir?
2201 Woodhill Road, Edmond, Oklahoma.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Hinkle, this is your ward, sir. Do you have questions for the applicant?
As long as you're okay with all the TEs, I think this is
We are.
adequate for the area. This is where this area is headed, and it's a good build, so.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything to add?
I'll just note for the purposes of the record, this design, according to staff, the design of this preliminary plat conforms to subdivision regulations as they relate to commercial development, and it also conforms to the underlying zoning, PUD 831, and the preliminary plat. So if there's no discussion from anybody else here today or questions from commissioners, I'll take a motion from you, Commissioner Hinkle, if you want to make it.
I'll move approval of C7436 with the 6 technical evaluations.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the preliminary plat C7436. It's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes. And that item is approved. Good luck with the project. Next item on today's agenda is item number 5.
This is case PUD 1890, application to rezone 16450 Northwestern Avenue from PUD 1289.
Applicant present? Come on up. Give us your name and address, your favorite color. Tell us a little about yourself, background.
Sure. My name is David Grates. I'm with Ango Concepts on the real estate team. Address is 555 East Van Buren Street in Phoenix, Arizona, 85008. I am with the tenant Salad & Go for the hard corner. We're working with a developer here. They have chosen to go with the car wash next to us, but we are the hard corner.
Okay. Commissioner Pennington, this is your ward, sir. You have questions on this one?
I don't think I have any questions, given what's going on directly to the east of it, so I'm happy to hear from the rest of the commission.
Anybody have anything? Doesn't look like it. So does this PUD, does this application mirror the PUD 1289 except what's outlined in the report? Just basically the change, the rezoning for the purpose of allowing the drive-through restaurant. Everything else is the same. Am I understanding that correctly?
I'm sorry, difficult hearing.
Am I understanding correctly that this application mirrors the PUD 1289 except for the fact that it adds the drive-through restaurant use?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Got it. I just want to make sure. Okay. Anybody want to be heard on this item today? Seeing nobody, if there's no discussion, I'll take a motion from you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of PUD 1890.
Okay, I have a motion to recommend approval to City Council on PUD 1890. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. All votes should be cast, and the item is recommended for approval.
Thank you.
Yep, good luck. Next item on the agenda today is item number 6.
This is case C7432, final plat of Jackson Creek, and this is located south of Northwest 164th Street and east of Northwestern Avenue.
Applicant present? Come on up, give us your name and address for the record.
Kevin Myers, I'm with 1000 Forest Park Boulevard, Suite 104, Fort Worth, 76110. It's basically replatting for the Salad & Go you just heard and a neighboring client.
Okay. Commissioner Pennington, this is your ward. Do you have questions on this one?
I actually did not have any questions on this one.
Okay, let me double check. Rule violator, come on, Barry Lodge, city staff. Yeah. I'll just note for the purpose of the record, the design of this final plat, according to staff, conforms to subdivision regulations as they relate to office commercial development and the requirements of PUD 1289 and the proposed PUD 1890, which we just heard. So, if there's nobody who wants to be heard on this item today, besides whoever was calling Barry Lodge, I'll take a motion. Yes, ma'am.
Question about this, there was at least one other final plat that was on to be heard list. We have kind of developed a habit, maybe is all, of having final plats that conform on the consent agenda. I was just wondering if there was some particular reason why this one was not. Was there?
Well, this goes with the item we just heard on the rezoning. So I think because the rezoning application was before us, before the plat, they wanted to make sure that we approved the rezoning before we heard the final plat.
That makes sense. Okay.
Your show.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve C 7432.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the final plat for Jackson Creek 3, C 7432. It's been seconded by, pause for effect, Commissioner Privet. Just kidding. Paula says no. Now it's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes when available. And that item is approved. Good luck with your project. Next item on the agenda is item 7.
This is PUD 1892, application to rezone 14602 Parkway Center Avenue from PUD 702.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Gary Owens, who's here with us, as well as Mark Grubbs, who is a civil engineer for this project. This PUD would allow for the development of a senior independent living facility. It is in an area in northwest Oklahoma City where we believe that particular type of product is not served as well as it could be. It's located, if you're familiar with the area, east of Crossings Church and west of that large-scale office complex that exists west of Quail Springs Mall. So the PUD is to allow for that type of product, and there are 4 TEs I want to address briefly. We agreed to TE 1 and 2. TE 3, we would ask to substitute the TE language with agreeing that sidewalks along the access drives onto Parkway Center Avenue will be required where units are not abutting or taking access to said access drive. I emailed that to staff this week, but I didn't hear back, but there was some back and forth. And then finally, TE4 we'd ask to delete, and the reason being this is not like a traditional multifamily type product. Each unit will have its own backyard, so we believe that we'll have adequate access to open space within the development, but then each unit having its own backyard means that the need to increase open space we don't think is present like it would be in a traditional multifamily unit. So in terms of the substituted language, like I said, I emailed the staff, never got back. They had circled some areas within the site plan that I think we're all on the same page, and I'm seeing Sarah nod her head and now making a face at me, so we might want to hear from her. Oh, I heard JJ say yeah.
I don't think we'll take that as fact for the purposes of the record, just at this moment, Mr. Box.
David, are there front yards too? I forgot to ask that yesterday.
Once you repeat.
20 by 15, so it's the width of the unit by about 15.
Okay. All right. Do we have some comment from staff on this really bizarre sidewalk language that's been articulated?
We're okay with the concept. We can work out specific language after the meeting.
How should we memorialize that for the purpose of the technical evaluation should we decide to move this item
I
forward
think the
today?
way it reads is just fine.
Okay, you want to read that one more time, Mr. Bucks, just so I get that down?
So we can agree to sidewalk along the access drives onto Parkway Center Avenue where the units are not abutting or taking access to said access drive. There was an email sent by staff in which they had circled some areas in red that they were particularly concerned about, and we agreed to provide the sidewalks on that location. So I'm fine with just keeping it as written with the understanding that the language that we had proposed back and forth in the red area is what the final product's going to be. Okay. The chair, I think, acknowledged that Mr. Chambliss was shaking his head up and down.
The chair did no such thing. I just sat here and smiled at you while Sarah smiled at me, and it's just, anyway.
My apologies, I thought I
All right, well,
a head nod.
I don't have any objection as long as staff is comfortable with that. In terms of the open space requirement, I mean, what would that calculate to be? Even though it's not open space, would that exceed what staff was trying to accomplish? Would it exceed?
I believe so with each unit
10%?
having it, yes.
Can we hear from staff
Yeah.
specifically about it?
You have no idea? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the percentage would be, so it's hard to say.
Well, typical multifamily developments, we want to encourage more open space because the units don't have open space, right? They are, think of a garden-style apartment where you walk up and you have a unit, you don't have any open space except for communal space. Well, here, each unit's going to have its own yard area, so the concern isn't present.
Got it. Okay. Well, I'd love to know what my fellow commissioners think about it. I don't have an issue with it because of the type of development it is. Is there anybody who wants to be heard on PUD 1892 today? Let me check that first. Okay. Seeing nobody, commissioners' thoughts on that?
Conceptually, I like it, and I'd already met with David about it, but I just wanted, if staff was going to say, no, we don't calculate this way, that's ridiculous, I wanted to hear that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's really just, we want to make sure that is sufficient usable open space, and, you know, if the commission is comfortable with the backyards being that, it wasn't clear from the site plan exactly what was going on. So that was our concern, just wanted to bring that forward. Sometimes it's not clear what's open space and what's not, and what's usable and what's not. So at first glance, it was, you know, I think there's a clubhouse there, and it wasn't clear what else might be available open space to the residents.
And there will be a central clubhouse with pool for the residents to use. Again, because it's a senior product, it's just a little bit different in that it's not like a traditional garden style that you might see up in Ward 8.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? All right. Well, if there's no discussion on it, I'd make a motion to recommend approval on it, but I can't, so I need one.
happy to do it, but I'm going to need to hear David's sidewalk language one more time. I tried to write it down.
Essentially, well, let me take a shot at it just so I can try to interpret it for the record. So what I heard is that we're leaving the TE intact.
Okay.
It's just that access drives where units do not abut the access drive, sidewalks will not be required.
Okay.
That's the way I took it.
Yes.
Okay.
Sidewalks will not be required where it doesn't abut
The access drives.
drives.
You
Okay.
got it.
In that case, Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of PUD 1892 with the following changes to technical evaluations. That technical evaluation 3 be, that a sentence be added that sidewalks shall not be required along, and I've already forgotten it, along access.
Access drives will not be required along access drive where units do not abut the access drive.
Where units do not abut the access drives, and we would delete TE4.
Okay. I have a motion. Take the second on PrimeGov. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. All votes should be cast. And that item is recommended for approval. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item number 8.
This is case C-7434, final plat of Parkway Square, located south of Northwest 150th Street and east of North Portland Avenue.
Applicant present.
Good afternoon, Mark Zitzow with Johnson & Associates. This is a final plat with a layout that is very similar to what you approved in a PUD at the end of last year and the preliminary plat that you heard earlier this year. We agree with the TEs and we'd ask for your approval.
Okay. This is a Ward 8 case, so I'll just note for the purpose of the record that according to staff, the design of this final plat conforms with the subdivision regulations as they relate to access requirements for divisions between 101 and 200 lots, and that the development also conforms to the requirements of PUD 1828 and the approved preliminary plat. I do not have any questions on this item. I do not have anybody sign up to speak. It's worth noting that it's due north of the item that we just approved, just so commissioners are aware of that. Is there anybody who wants to be heard on this C-7434? Okay. If there's nobody and there's no discussion from my fellow commissioners, I'll take a motion on the plat.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve C-7434.
Thank you, Commissioner Pennington. I have a motion to approve the final plat, C-7434. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. And that item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item number 9.
This is SPUD 1403, application to rezone 814 North Douglas Avenue from R3.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Selby with Building Planners. I'm representing the Maywood Trust and their builder Robert Smith with Concept Design for SPUD 1403 at 813 North Douglas, which is located at Douglas Northwest 8th, and it's just north of a spud we had previously approved, 808 North Douglas, just across the alley there. And we are proposing 2 single-family residences with the option of a future lot split. with the exterior architecture matching the house that's being built across the alley.
Okay, this is a Ward 6 item. We are for one meeting without a Ward 6 commissioner, but my understanding is that we'll have one next time, hopefully. But I don't have any questions on this. Is there anybody, I did review it. If there's anybody here from Ward 6, I did review the case. It's very straightforward to me. Does any of my fellow commissioners have comments or questions on this one? Okay. If there's no discussion from it, I'll ask, is there anybody who wants to be heard today on SPUD 1403? All right, seeing nobody, I'll take a motion if someone would make it for me.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of SPUD 1403.
Okay. I have a motion to recommend approval to City Council on SPUD 1403. There are no technical evaluations. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. All votes. Oh, Commissioner Hinkle. How do you vote, sir?
Yes.
Commissioner Hinkle's voted aye. All votes should be cast. And that item is recommended for approval. Next item on the agenda is item 10.
This is case C-7435, final plat of Whistle Creek Phase 1, located south of Northwest 164th Street and east of Northwestern Avenue.
Mark Zitzel, 1 East Sheridan Avenue with Johnson and Associates. This item, we would like to request a continuance to June 23rd so we can continue to work with staff on it. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I am just curious, Commissioner Pennington, have you been in contact with the applicant? Do you have any further comments?
I don't have
Before
any
we
further
continue?
comments. I would like to be included because I'm curious, but that's all.
So if I may, this is a final plat application, and so we will gladly include Commissioner
Good point.
Pennington if the city attorney will allow us.
You're working on it with staff to try to finalize it. That's why you want the continuance, because of the request to continue. You just think you need more time.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure we're all on the same page. If there's no discussion
I
from
guess I'm
this.
not going to have a discussion with you about it because we can't.
Right.
I figured.
Yeah. We'll take a motion, though, to continue it according to the applicant June the 23rd.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue item 10 to the June 23rd meeting.
Okay? I have a motion to continue C-7435 to June 23rd. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. All votes should be cast, and that item is continued.
Thank you.
Good luck. Item 11 was withdrawn. Item 12 was continued until June the 9th. That brings us to item 13, Mr. Butler.
This is case PC 10812, application to rezone 11505 South Harrow Road from AA to RA2.
Good afternoon, once again, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. Kendall Dillon, the civil engineer, also here with me. This is an application that should look a little different. Most of the time that I am coming before you with a recommendation for denial, it is for RA or a PUD with an RA base in which I seek to limit the lot sizes to half-acre lots. Here, I was a bit surprised in that what we seek is the RA2 application, which is not something you see very often, which is a 2-acre minimum lot size requirement. The map before you is showing the subject site here at 119th and Hera, but also the kind of area around it. And the reason why I think this is instructive is, again, the subject site, which is approximately 65 acres, we seek 2-acre lots. And if we take a quick stroll around the area surrounding it, you will see that there are approximately 9 developments that have been approved that allow for lot sizes as low as 1 acre. So 1 acre lot, 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 RA that has 2-acre lots, even though it's RA. And again, what we seek here is an RA2, which would be 2-acre lot minimum. When you look at the broader area, we believe that to be consistent and compatible with the built environment in this area. It is worth noting that there is no protest that I'm aware of in these rural type cases. Oftentimes you will see protest. Given the fact that we're going for a 2-acre lot size, we believe it to be compatible, and one of the reasons perhaps that there is not protest. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
David, do you know what the lots adjacent to the north, what size those are?
My guess is that they are 5 acres.
Yeah, okay, I was thinking that.
There does not appear to be but maybe a handful up there.
It says to the north is a 5-acre subdivision, and to the south along
Okay,
Southeast
yeah.
119th Street are residences on 5 acres.
Gotcha.
So
Missed
on
that.
either side of it, they're 5-acre lots, but yeah.
Yep.
Other questions on this one, Commissioner?
Well, you know, besides the denial, but, you know, at 2 acres, I really don't have much issue with it.
Okay. There's nobody signed up to speak. Is there anybody who wants to be heard on PC 10812? Okay. Other comments from commissioners on this one? All right. If there's nobody who has any thoughts on it, I don't. So Commissioner
Okay.
Privet, I guess we'll take a motion if you want to make it.
I'll move approval or recommendation of approval of PC 108-112.
Okay, I have a motion to recommend approval to City Council on PC 10812. It's been seconded by Commissioner Hinkle. Please cast your votes. All votes should be cast. And that item is recommended for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 14.
This is case C-7430, final plat of the Tributary, located south of Northeast 122nd Street and east of Northeastern Avenue.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. On behalf of the applicant, Johnson and Associates, the civil engineer for the project, are here with us. This is a final plat, and the reason that I'm standing before you and that it is not on the consent is because of one of the technical evaluations, specifically TE number 2, as it relates to concerns raised by traffic management. We have worked with, or attempted to work with traffic management to arrive at what we think is a solution that works. Haven't been able to get responses to our emails. If you are familiar with this area and have driven it, this particular point of 122nd is at a spot that's fairly difficult. But based upon the way that the site lays out, there is no other spot that you can put an access point. This is it. The concern is, based upon the topography and the hills that exist, the site distance is problematic. We believe staff has acknowledged that it doesn't meet warrants for a signal. You can't just go put a signal even if you want one. There are certain warrants that have to be hit before a signal can be had. So what we would propose is we agree to TEs 1 and 3. In TE 2, we would ask to substitute that with language that says, paving plans will not be approved until a safe solution to the entrance to 122nd Street is accomplished and approved by Traffic Commission if necessary. So what this will do is mean that our paving plans can't be approved until some form of solution through Public Works and or Traffic Commission, if it's needed, is accomplished.
I'm trying to jot that down to make sure we can regurgitate it later should it become necessary. Paving plans shall not be approved until a solution.
A safe solution to the entrance to 122nd Street is achieved and approved by Public Works and or a Traffic Commission if necessary.
Okay. I think I got the gist of it here. Commissioner Pennington, this is your ward, sir. Do you have comments or thoughts on that from the applicant? I will say, too, I think this is one of the applications that I owe the applicant an apology on because I inadvertently continued it to this meeting thinking that we had apparently no second meeting in April. I just decided we weren't going to have that one. And I continued a handful of items accidentally to May 12th. Anyway, sorry.
Apology accepted.
I wasn't apologizing. I assure you of that. Commissioner Pennington.
It sounds good to me if staff is okay with the language. I mean, if they're good with it, then I'm good with it. Does traffic want to comment?
Mr. McCubbin is here. Do you have comments on this? Are you in general agreement with that language? We're in general agreement. Mr. McCubbin has relayed from the bleachers that he's in general agreement. Okay, well, if that's the case, unless there's other comments from commissioners, I don't have anybody sign up to speak. C-7430, anybody want to be heard on that? All right. You want to take a shot at that?
I'm going to try, David, one more time. Yep. Sorry.
We're gonna, this is gonna be read in as it will be read into the record, so go ahead.
Paving plans will not be approved until a safe solution to the entrance to 122nd Street is accomplished, either through approval by Public Works or Traffic Commission if necessary.
So as read into the record by Mr. Box.
That works.
TE2 has been amended.
I like it. And maybe David can bring them to us in writing. Email them to us before so then I can make sure that I've got it down. But I move approval of C-7430 with the amendment to TE2 as read into the record.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the preliminary plat to C-7430, subject to the technical evaluations as amended and read into the record by Mr. Box. It's been seconded by Commissioner Powers. Please cast your votes. And that item is approved. Item 15 was continued to May the 26th. So our next item is item 16, which is CPA, comp plan amendment. Mr. Beller?
Yes, this is CPA for 2022, our third CPA, consideration of a proposed map amendment to the comprehensive plan, removing the employment land use topology area layer on approximately 72 acres located west of County Line Road and south of Northwest on 12th Street. And Benary is going to give us a brief walkthrough.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. The request is CPA 2022-00003. The request is to remove the employment layer, little layer over the urban low-intensity layer, and approximately 72 acres located west of County Lane Road and south of Northwest 112th Street. It's an associated zoning publication, PC 10798. Here is where it's located. The existing conditions is the employment layer is surrounded by some urban low. The uses, right now the site is undeveloped, is surrounded by undeveloped, and then to the east is some residential. The subject parcel is agricultural with some residential to the north and to the east. The water is available on site. There is wastewater available on site. There is urban response on site. The considerations, the site is a large undeveloped area with access to one major arterial street and is located near the Kilpatrick Turnpike. A limited supply of undeveloped land appropriate for employment uses exists within Oklahoma City. Since Plan OKC was adopted in 2015, the city has lost more than 650 acres of employment land. Ample undeveloped land that is appropriately designated for residential uses exist within the northwest quadrant of the city. The site is served by city water, wastewater, and emergency response services. Single-family residential is not a supported use within the employment layer. Multifamily uses are considered appropriate within the employment LUDA when integrated with unsupported of employment uses. Findings, this subject site is an excellent site for employment uses due to its proximity to Kilpatrick Turnpike, other employment uses, and city infrastructure. Well-served and situated employment land sites are limited in the northwest quadrant area of the city, whether sites suitable for residential uses are more plentiful. Preserving employment land to facilitate the creation of jobs remain critical to Oklahoma City's overall economic stability and future growth. Removing the employment designation for this 72-acre parcel will reduce the amount of development-ready EM land available on the northwest quadrant of the city, leasing the city's abilities to retain and attract large employers. Due to this, the staff recommends denial of the request to remove the employment layer on the subject site. Any questions?
Ward, so if you have questions, we'll take them from you first.
Yeah, I did have one question. When was the...
Used to be Ward 8, by the way. Got
used
cut
to
out.
be. I see you just went like that. When was the employment layer designated for this area?
2015, when the LUDA.
Okay. So 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It actually was, we actually started it in the previous comp plan. We amended the previous comp plan and mostly carried it over pretty much the way it was in Plan OKC.
Jeff, has there been any kind of ongoing review of areas like this? I'm very ambivalent about this particular request. Generally speaking, I'm a strong proponent of maintaining these overlays and following staff recommendation on them. But I have to say, this particular piece of property, it's very hard for me to imagine like a Paycom on it. I'm having a little trouble. I'm struggling a little bit with, whether this individual tract is an appropriate still, given all of the development that has occurred around it.
This tract actually was under consideration for a large employer, well, I should say a large industrial operation. This area, I don't know if it covered this particular tract, it might have been directly west. So it has been, in my opinion, it is a valid site for employment uses, and it could be any number of things, from manufacturing to light industrial to an office use like Paycom. This particular site has been, we've kind of, it's eroded away over time. This has been a really popular area for residential development, as we've seen over the years. But as I've said before, the same thing that makes it attractive for employment is what makes it attractive for residential as well, and that typically comes sooner, which is why we felt like it's important to preserve this type of land so that when businesses do come knocking, we can have something available. Understand that, in the past the commission it's uncomfortable to have to say no to something like this because we don't have any control over the property, direct control. Like we do, for example, the city recently spent $13 million on the I-240 and Eastern side, and we're in the process of getting that developed. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to do that. That's a slow process. Clearly, it's taken many years to make that happen. We intend to continue doing that sort of thing in the other quadrants. So that's kind of, I guess, where we are in a nutshell.
May I, since it's my application, address the commission?
Of course.
Okay. Do you mind if I take just cycle back? So a couple things. I mean, when we talk, I don't know how to go backwards here. That ain't it. Could you go back a couple slides, Cindy? Okay, right there. So when we say, if we lose this, we worry that we won't have something available. The city doesn't have anything available. The city doesn't own this. This property is held in private hands. And Paycom gets used, and Paycom is a fantastic example because Paycom didn't operate and locate there because the employment reserve. It located there because the market dictated that it was a good spot based upon all the metrics that Paycom found. I am not aware of a single company that decided to come to Oklahoma City and locate because, thank goodness, we had an employment reserve layer. The market dictates where it goes based upon traffic counts, access points, those things. 2 separate applications were filed to the north of this tract, both of which were recommended for denial, both of which were approved by this commission to remove that layer to the north. And you can see those green lines are because they already have homes on the ground and developing. And although it sounds nice that we have this employment layer, I assure you, if I came into these chambers, to Planning Commission and City Council with an I-2 development that 100% conformed to the employment layer, this chamber would be full, the common area out there would be full, and the political reality is there is no way that gets approved. So this is surrounded on the northwest by R1, the north by R1, the northeast by R1, the east by R1, and the southeast by R1. Single-family residential is appropriate at this location. It's at the half-mile line along County Road. It has weird access to the Turnpike or Northwest Highway. That is the reason why it's appropriate for single-family development and why, if somebody sniffed at it, they didn't pull the trigger. So it's surrounded by single-family, and we believe, similar to the previous application that this commission has heard, the employment layer should be lifted and urban low should be the proper designation on this site.
Okay. Any comments from other commissioners? No? Commissioner Clare?
Well, I just wanted to add, I mean, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Powers. I really, it states that, hey, this is such a prime location for this type of development, for the office. But, this layer's been in effect for 7 years and, nothing's happened. I actually don't, I mean, great access, and that's why residential has been so popular in this area. But from the other types of services that are needed for an employer to be attracted to the area, I mean, you're starting to see more commercial on Northwest Expressway out here, but there's no restaurants out here for employees to go to lunch or anything like that. And until that develops, which could be another 5 years, I don't think you're going to see any people interested in relocating their operation out here. And we've seen how popular the residential is. So, I mean, I'm with Commissioner Powers. I mean, I know we have this layer and it's important, but I think this is an appropriate application.
I changed my mind, Mr. Chairman, and now I do want to comment. I agree with Commissioner Clare, and the entire time that I've been on this commission, I guess coming on 3.5 years, a very short time, but I don't know that we have ever denied an application because of the employment reserve.
Well,
so I can't recall. Can you?
Nope, and there's a reason for that. And it's been pointed out by the applicant's representative, which is, like, I get the idea behind employment reserve too.
Yep.
I also get the idea that whoever owns this property, however long they've owned it, how long has your client owned this property?
9 months.
Yeah, and how long before that had the owner owned it? Like,
some
any
time,
idea?
sure.
I mean, that's what, I remember one of the applicants, because it was Ward 8 at the time, and I spent some time with it, it was to the north of this, came in, and we had the same conversation. They'd owned it forever, had no idea what this was, what the employment layer was. That's just too far infringing on the property rights aspect of owning real estate for me to ever support that. I just can't do it. There's a way to do it. You can buy it. The chamber can buy it. The city can buy it. Somebody can buy it, and they can hold it for that purpose. Otherwise, if someone comes in here, we had the conversation, the one to the north, I totally agree, just knowing the area fairly well. If you brought a 72-acre industrial site development in there, there is a very low probability that that goes forward. Everybody who owns to the east side of County Line Road, which is a 2-lane road that looks like something, somebody had bombed it. That's not realistic, and I respect the idea of what it's trying to do, but it's just really hard when somebody comes in and says, I want to rezone my property, and the use is appropriate to say, ooh, well, we have this aspirational layer that we want to overlay your property rights. I just can't do it. That's just me. It's just too far. So,
Because it's speculative.
Because it's speculative.
That's the whole thing. But I understand conceptually the value.
I do too.
And maybe we just need to add this to the list of things that, between us and council, we come to some agreement about how to approach these things in the future. But I am confident also that even if we were to say no to this, that the council is going to absolutely approve it. But not that that should be a factor in making the decision. I know that's what Commissioner Powers is going to say to me right after I end that. But I think we
Council
should
doesn't hear
talk
the
about
comp
it.
plan amendments, nor did the neighbors to the east or to the north or to the south get notice of the comp plan amendment.
But the rezoning, they're going to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So, all right. Any other thoughts? Okay, well, Commissioner Clare, this is your ward, so if you want to make a motion, I think we're ready to take it.
Approval for CPA.
We're just approving this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Move to approve CPA 2022-00003.
No. You may. Please, come forward. Yep. If you could give us your name and address for the record first.
Yes, Chris Tucker, 13013 North Morgan Road, Yukon, Oklahoma 73099.
Welcome.
Thank you. This if you're trying to zone this for, if they want to put in a Paycom is, I know it brings a lot of money to the city and everybody loves Paycom. They're a great company, but trying to go down Memorial Road, the traffic is awful. Can we go back to the other map? So not only would the people east of County Line Road be piling in here, everybody west of Kilpatrick would be piling in here to tell you, don't do this.
I live at Council Memorial, just so you know.
So Council Memorial, so you know how awful the traffic is becoming. So there are not adequate exits and entries for Kilpatrick Turnpike. Most of the roads around there, it's 2-lane roads. It's just not practical to put something in like that. And did you say that everybody did receive notice about this
No.
rezoning?
For comp plan amendments, those are not noticed. The rezoning application, which is actually what generated the need to do a comp plan amendment, which is the next item on the agenda, that was noticed. So anybody within 300 feet did receive a copy of the notice of the rezoning.
They did receive it.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying everybody in these residential neighborhoods received the copy?
Anybody within 300 feet of it.
Okay.
Yeah. But
let's be clear, yeah.
What
The idea of a Paycom or an office was theoretical. That is not
Correct.
what the application is for.
And it makes it even more challenging if you're not going to put in a company that is something that brings in a higher pay scale. If you put in an industrial complex there, it's going to be lower paying jobs. There's no bus routes out there for that. Gas prices are going through the roof. So the people that would be taking those jobs in an industrial complex like this would be driving in, and it's just not practical. So I'm sorry, it was just on the spur. I was here, and I would have loved to put together a lot more, and I'm sure all my neighbors would too. But I just felt that it would be an injustice to my neighbors and all the people to the east of this and to the north of this to not say anything and just let it go willy-nilly. So.
No, I appreciate your comments a lot. Thanks for speaking up. Just to be clear, what Commissioner LaForge is trying to tell you, though, what the proposed rezoning is not for that. It is for single-family housing. So
it's not for commercial?
Correct. That's what he was trying to make sure you were aware of. We were having a debate because this conversation has been had, I'll be so bold as to say many times by this commission about this same type of issue. So we were kind of rehashing the discussion of why it's a problem. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Commissioner Clary, I think you were going to make a motion or had made a motion. You want to remake that for the record, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll move approval of item CPA 2022-00003.
Got it. I have a motion and a second to approve the comp plan amendment. Please cast your votes. Second was by Commissioner Hinkle. And that item is approved. Next item on the agenda is item 17. Mr. Butler.
This is PC 10798, application to rezone 11301 North County Line Road from AA to R1.
One last time, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. This is the companion case to go from AA to R1, and staff in their recommendation did provide you with alternatives, and in the event that the CPA was approved, they do recommend approval. Be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Clare?
No question. Seems pretty straightforward. Happy to hear from anyone else.
Okay. I have, don't have anybody signed up. I do not have anybody signed up to speak. Excuse me. PC 10798. Anybody want to be heard on this item today? Okay. Seeing nobody, if there's no discussion from commissioners on this, I'll take a motion, Commissioner Clare.
Move approval of item PC 10798.
All right. I have a motion and a second to recommend approval to City Council on PC 10798. Please cast your votes. And that item is recommended for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is our last item on today's agenda. Item 18 was continued to 526, as were the remaining items on the agenda as published. So we'll move to additional items. Planning Commission committees. Commissioner Hinkle. Okay. Planning Commission members, Commissioner Clare.
Nothing for me. Just like to say welcome to our new Ward 3 Commissioner, publicly.
Commissioner Powers.
I don't know whether there's been any discussion that I just haven't been aware of, but There's a case that came down out of the Supreme Court recently indicating that the previous ruling, name of the case it escapes me for the moment, that seemed to indicate that classification of signage by sort of accessory versus non-accessory meant that you were regulating content, and therefore that was impermissible. That interpretation was a huge driving factor in our recently drafted sign code. It was like, the first premise for the launch. And now the court has made very clear that they don't have any problem at all with a distinction being made between accessory and non-accessory signage. And based on that, I think we need to take another look at the approach that we've taken to that issue, because it was a real point of concern to a lot of people. So, that meant that everybody who has a sign can rent it out for general advertisement and not just for their own business promotion. So that's just a comment. I don't know whether there's any discussion going on about whether that needs another hard look or not. But, as somebody who's been kind of involved with the sign code for quite a while, and the process most recently of trying to update it, I think it is a very significant difference in distinction, and might very well indicate a different direction for our thought process.
Mr. Butler indicates he has some color he can add to that. You want to chime in?
Yeah, I think Laura and I can address that. So yes, we are having conversations about it, and we of course have had a backup plan the entire time, knowing that this might happen, knowing that the Supreme Court accepted the case. So we're in conversations with industry, with various companies, and ODOT, who wants to kind of consider what this might mean, because of course, they also regulate billboards, and they rely on our regulations to some extent. So it's on pause. It was actually supposed to be on the council agenda just this past council. So it was taken off just to put it on pause so we can examine. Like I said, all along we've had the solution. If the Supreme Court did what they did end up doing, an easy solution is to simply add the on-off premise to the definition of a billboard, or kind of incorporate it in that way. We do seem to have a difference of opinions amongst industry folks about, whether some think content neutrality of the way it is written is A-okay and want to move forward with it, others don't. So we are having discussions and meetings, and I think we've got a way forward, but we still have to kind of work that through with all involved.
Well, I'll be interested to see kind of where that goes and how it works out. I don't think that it affects only billboards, though.
No, certainly. I mean, if what one solution would be, you could say that you can only advertise off premise if you are a billboard. It essentially means that the way it's always been, yeah. And it's a fairly easy. That's kind of our.
That would be the simple solution.
Exactly. If this happened, we thought, well, we will do something like that, okay. And it actually arguably could improve our definition of billboard and make it a little more sound.
So are you thinking that you'll go back to the stakeholders and what do we call the stakeholders committee, stakeholders advisory group, and present that to them and see what their consensus of opinion is about it? I would like to explore this a little further. I'm very curious about how it's going to shake out.
Yeah, first we need to hear, because so far all we know is that people are reviewing it, ODOT specifically. Others were fairly quick to say, no, we're good, or no, we have these concerns and here they are.
Okay.
And some are still, not just ODOT, others are just kind of
This
thinking
is very
about it.
recent opinion. I mean, it's just.
Yeah,
so-
absolutely. So it's understandable. We've anticipated it, but there's a lot to talk through. It seems that the actual change to the ordinance could be pretty minimal.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, and that was kind of our, like I said, our plan all along, but, you know, it just needs to go through the process. And so we've extended the moratorium so that we can pause and do this. Did I
Okay.
leave anything out, Laura?
All right. Anything else, Commissioner Powers?
I don't know whether this is really something that you need to know too much about, but, you know, I actually sit on the Capital Medical Zoning Commission as well. We are in the process, we've appointed a subcommittee, and we're in the process of trying to decide whether the plan, the Innovation District Plan that we as a city have incorporated into our comp plan, is going to be kind of a model, if you will, for a comp plan amendment. As old and rickety as our previous plan was, theirs is way older and more rickety. So, I mean, it's just not reflective in any way, shape, or form of what is actually going on in the Capital Medical Zoning District, so, and Improvement District. So, I may be reaching out to some of you to get some input about that.
Okay. Commissioner Fraley? Okay. Commissioner Privet?
Does not. Our school committee meeting was scheduled, I guess, June 6th.
Yep.
So,
Yep, I plan to participate. I know Commissioner Hinkle responded, said he plans to participate. So I think
do we want to appoint
who was on, was it?
Mary?
It was
Mary.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it makes sense, Commissioner Fraley, for you to attend that. Mustang and Yukon are big participants in that discussion, and so I think it probably makes some sense for you just to stand in her stead. We can't have a quorum there, but I think it makes some sense for those for you to. That was kind of what, I mean, those are two of the districts that generated the need for the meeting anyway.
Right.
So I think that makes some sense unless anybody objects to that. So we can send you the information on that meeting. I'll forward you that email, or if staff can, actually, that would be great. So.
And it's just a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Hinkle?
Commissioner Powers, ODOT's weighing in heavily on this sign deal. So we're going to wait and see what ODOT has to say about it all. I mean, we being all of us. I'm pretty sure I heard Lisa Cronister cry and scream when they moved this forward one more time. I can't believe she's going to have to make 270 more presentations, but at least we're headed in the right direction. So that's what I have. She's good at it.
Commissioner Pennington? Congratulations on your new job, by the way. I saw that.
Oh, thank you. Very excited. I'm very sad to leave my law school that I love very dearly, and you all see me every meeting with my OU Law pin, but I'm still wearing it, but excited about a new opportunity. I do want to really welcome Commissioner Fraley. Glad that you're here. It does bring to mind that we probably should do, I don't know the extent of training that people get when you first start. I begged JJ and Aubrey at the time to meet with me so that I could try to understand, but I'm happy to meet with you, and I think we probably should, since we're going to be adding new people, you know, probably have a more set plan for that in the future to ease the transition. So,
Agreed.
Anyway, glad you're here.
Commissioner LaForge? Okay. I have nothing. Planning Department.
Commissioner LaForge, excuse me, Commissioner Pennington, it sounds like you maybe didn't get the training that you were owed, so we're happy to. We've actually already met with, Commissioner Fraley and the other new commissioner who's been appointed actually just this past Tuesday, who wasn't able to make it, but I think he'll be here Thursday, or next planning commission, Dan Govine. So we had a kind of an initial training and talked about, like, you know, the nuts and bolts of the commission. So you're welcome to join us if you would like. Although I think that you've probably already picked up all of this over the past 3.5 years.
I'm just jealous, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all. I just wanted to hang out too.
wanted
I just wanted to be invited to the party.
I wanted to address that feeling, so you're welcome.
Well, I'll just make a reminder, we had commission training about 2 months ago down there, and I was the only one that showed up, so.
I
It was just
intended
me and
to.
Susan.
You carried the flag.
It was just me and Susan sitting at a table.
All by yourself?
Yeah.
I intended to, but couldn't find a babysitter, so.
Yeah, we're expecting it. Other than that, I think I've already addressed the sign code, so I think that's all I had.
Okay. Mr. Chambliss, Development Services. Okay. Municipal Counselor's Office. Nope. All right. Citizens to be heard. Nothing. Okay. Is there any other business? If there's not, I'll take a motion to adjourn. All in
Be
favor?
adjourned. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Any opposed? Well, I guess we're adjourned then.